you look over here, and you'll see if something pops up. You have to just press the button just to let them come in. I'll come around every once in a while. Let me just mute everybody because, okay, whenever you're ready.
Boker Tov, good morning. Please continue to eat and have a bagel on me. I'd be very honored and very grateful. I'm not aware whether or not there's typically a title for the presentation. I supplied you with one. Is there what you usually want? Great. The title I have today is Tutti Frutti. And this has nothing to do with any type of song on the radio back in the 50s. And it has nothing to do with the Marx Brothers, was it Night at the Races, where it was mispronounced as Tootsie Fruitsie, which was a very good scene, incidentally. I showed it to my grandson. But I want to speak about something that we may not have thought about or thought about sufficiently, and it has to do with Shavuos. We celebrate Shavuos basically with one, reading the book of Ruth. Two, I don't know, I've not yet been here for Shavuos at this synagogue, we're elsewhere, but there's greens in the synagogue, dairy foods, and there's an unwritten rule that you cannot celebrate Shavuos unless there's cheesecake. I think that's the 614th commandment. Thou shalt not celebrate Shavuos unless you have cheesecake. And all this is fine and well. This is wonderful. There's one major problem. And the major problem is that Shavuos is also Chag HaBikurim, the festival of the first fruits. So tell me, maybe I'm missing something, but when was the last time you celebrated Shavuos, either in the synagogue or at home, where the focus was on Bikurim? Now, the Bikurim are in the Torah. Cheesecake is not in the Torah. You wish it were. The book of Ruth is not in the Torah. So we have all these customs, yet something which is in the Torah, Veisach was. My wife will recall, even though my wife and I were raised at that time in our childhood, probably about 2,000 miles away from each other, but we remember the same song that we were taught this time of year. And I did a little bit of, I could see my wife, I could read lips this close, and she's doing it. I did a little research this morning. It was 30 years old when we were singing it. Salenu al ktafenu, roshenu aturim, miksot haaretz banu, hebenu bikurim. You remember that? The baskets are on our shoulders. Our head is decorated. From the ends of the land we are coming, bringing bikurim, first fruits. We didn't pause to think as 8-year-olds, 7-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 9-year-olds, whatever, when we were singing this. If we're singing a beautiful song about bikurim, that's as far as it went. From that point on, it was sour grapes. So it doesn't make sense. The Torah reading for Shavuos. The first day from Yisrael, the 10 Commandments. Makes sense. Outside of Israel, the second day, Parshas Re'eh. But how come you would think that we should be reading from Kisavo, the opening verses in Deuteronomy chapter 26, where the Torah legislates, when you arrive in the land, you shall bring bikurim to Lord your God. How come that never made it with regard to Torah reading? So all these, something's not right here. Something's amiss. First of all, what are bikurim? Is it any first fruit? The Torah, the Talmud rather, defines it not even as fruit, some of them. Wheat, barley, grapes, figs, pomegranates, olives, including olive oil, and dates. No oranges, certainly not any lemons. It even goes on further, typical Talmudic tradition, that the dates, if they're dates that have grown on a mountain, exempt. You don't bring them. Olive oil, if it's not top grade, 10W30 olive oil, don't bring that either. You like that, didn't you? So how come we never learned it? How come there's no classes? Maybe there are, maybe I'm missing something. But when you have the all-night study session, how come, are you aware? I'm not challenging you, I'm curious. Did anyone lead a session on Maseches Bikurim? Has that ever been done? So why? What's wrong? What's going on here, or what isn't going on here? Are you following me so far? Are my questions? Yes, got Gabenzos design. May I ask you this question? Think about it. The first mention loosely, it's not mentioned using this word, but if you think about it, the first time we come across, quote, bikurim, where and when? Again, they're not called bikurim, and it's not a trick question. But it's one that'll elicit a smile or a groan, either one of them. The first time bikurim are mentioned in the Torah, or even passively referred to.
Adam's kids.
Okay, I would go one generation earlier. Eitz Hadas. We've never, Adam and Chava, or let's do it more specifically, Chava and Adam took for themselves, they weren't taking it for God, but for themselves, they took, that wasn't their intention, but they took bikurim. They were the first people to take fruit. This was the first fruit. No mentions made, but that would have to qualify. The first bikurim are in Gan Eden. The bikurim commandment in the Torah, are we supposed to eat it first meal of the day? Main course? Can we mix it, dilute it? Can we squeeze the dates and have date juice? I'm asking you a trick question because the Torah doesn't say anything about eating bikurim at all. We are supposed to bring the bikurim. They're not for us. They're for God. We derive benefit because fulfilling a mitzvah, and secondly, we're doing something for God. So how does this square with the bikurim, loosely stated bikurim of Adam and Chava? The bikurim of Deuteronomy, how does it mesh with the bikurim of Genesis? Can we make a chart? Can we diagram? Do you understand what I'm asking? The bikurim, ideally, theoretically, who was to benefit from the bikurim of Genesis? Who was to benefit from the bikurim of Deuteronomy? Can we put this on a chart? Do you see what I'm trying to build here? Am I making sense? Thank you. The bikurim of Deuteronomy, it's all about God. The so-called bikurim of Genesis was all about bikurim of Deuteronomy. God is the recipient. And everybody's happy. The bikurim of Genesis, even Adam are the recipients, and nobody's happy. They're not happy, God's not happy. Deuteronomy, not only are we bringing bikurim to God, but we are coming closer to God. Our relationship, we're feeling closer together. The bikurim of Genesis I mentioned to somebody as far as my attire today, they said, what's so different? Manishtana, you look like this every day. And I said, you're not as observant as you ought to be, because Shabakol Halelos, I do not wear white shirts and dark suits. I wear a brown suit, beige shirt, or whatever. But today I'm going to be at the cemetery right after this. So when I'm at the cemetery, I ask the funeral, I ask questions to prepare. So any siblings? Oh yes, Rabbi, he has a brother, but he won't be there because they haven't been speaking for 20 years. Now, if I were to told you, I'm shocked to hear that, you'd see my nose go boop, 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 because it happens all the time. And the first time a mishpacha stopped speaking, I'm using the word mishpacha loosely, is when God stopped speaking to Adam and Eve. Here are your new set of clothes, and you're out of here. Don't call me, and I'm not going to call you. But the bikurim are the exact opposite. We're coming closer to God. We're not distancing ourselves. When we read the bikurim paragraph in the Torah, who was mentioned there? And here's the irony, because it's mentioned that those verses, part of those verses, are mentioned during another festival. Arami Oved Avi. When do we find that? This is not a difficult question. This is an easy one. Where do we find that? Where's it? It's Exactly correct. We're reading it in the Haggadah. Yet it's taken from a section that is a Shavuot section, has nothing to do with Pesach, but it has to do with the following. And I just heard this. It may have been from here, I'm not sure. But if I heard it secondhand from here. I don't know if Rabbi Markowitz spoke about it. What was Laban's greatest sin? Other than cheating the living daylights out of his son-in-law. Let me ask it, say again? Okay, good, well, that's cheating as well. Good, and then he cheated with the flock. I'm going to give you two scenarios. Pesach scenarios, Haggadah, of being taken advantage of. Because this will explain the Lavan, but it also feed into Shavuos. The Haggadah, we are recounting how we were taken advantage of by the Egyptians. I'll use the Yiddish word, we were taken advantage of by Fremde. What are Fremde? Strangers. Well, we read about Lavan that night of Pesach, 2 nights of Pesach. What is the worst crime? We were taken advantage of not by Fremde, but by Eigene, by our own. Now, either way it stinks, but which one is stinkier? When you get it by your own. Did you ever hear that midrash? There was a piece of iron and gold on an anvil, and the smith was with a hammer pounding them. And the iron kept screaming. Every time he got hit by the hammer, he was shrieking, Gavald, Gavald. He was writhing in pain. Gold, which was also being hit, barely said a word. So in between the shrieks, the iron turns to the gold and says, I don't understand this. I'm being hit and you're being hit. It's the same hammer. It's the same force. I'm much stronger. I should be able to take it far better than you. So why am I shrieking and you're able to tolerate it? So the gold said, understand one thing. Everything you said is correct, but you're missing one thing. You're shrieking not because it's so hard or heavy, because I have the same thing, but you're being hit by your own. It's iron against iron. The gold said, I'm gold. I'm being hit by Fremde. It hurts, but nowhere nearly as painful as what you're going through by your own. How does this connect with the first Bikurim, quote, Bikurim, the Adam and Eve Bikurim? What was so terrible about it? It may be the first time. It may be the first time that we disobeyed. But I'll tell you something, Kodesh Baruch Hu, you better get used to it. You're in for a long, long road of disobedience. I wish I could tell you otherwise. So what was so terrible? There were two things. One, I really don't want to go into. Why God really Where's the tshuva? God could have said, right? Kapora, here's what I want you to do to make up for it, so we'll be okay. None of that. Why is the Kodesh Baruch Hu so incensed? There's two reasons. One I'm going to go into, one I'm not. He's incensed not because they did it. He's not happy they did it. It's bad, but it's not the end of the world. Why did he make it the end of the world? Because they put a serpent before God, and that was the end. But there was something else, and this is germane to what we're speaking about. The Kodesh Baruch Hu was hurt by Egena in his own garden, his own fruit, his literally own creation. It's not like you, it's not like me. We're God's creations, but we are secondary, tertiary. He mamash created them. And this is the thanks he gets? He's incensed. So Bikurim 1 set God off. Not only was the first sin, but in some ways it may have been the worst sin. So what's the kapora? How do we set things right? How do we make things good again, or at least attempt to do so? Shavuos. We took the first fruit away from you. Now we are bringing the first fruit to you. We made ourselves unwelcome guests. We are asking you to be our honored guest. Do you see what's happening here? It's the flip opposite. I think I see it as the atonement. But let's add one other level to this, which I believe truly makes sense. And that is Zman Matan Torasenu. Let's look at it in a very, very broad sense. Sure, we commemorate standing at Mount Sinai. Everybody accepts that. No one's going to argue with that. But let's talk about accepting Torah as a metaphor. We're not talking about the 10 Commandments. We're not talking about the 613 mitzvahs. We're talking about small t Torah. And the Torah is accepting the Torah, is accepting the Torah of learning our lesson. We realized what went wrong. Adam and Eve can't apologize. I wish I could even tell you that they asked us to set things straight on their behalf, but I can't even say that. But as humans, as their descendants, can we appeal to you that if we are celebrating your giving the Torah to us, please accept these bikurim as we have finally figured out the Torah, that we are benefiting from the Torah. If we could say the Ahavta, I'm going to be doing a presentation someplace else in about a year's time, half year's time, based on the Ahavta l'reacha kamocha. If you're supposed to love your fellow human being, so what about the Kodesh Baruch Hu? Adam and Chava was love for themselves. Adam, fine, love for his wife, whatever you want, however you want, we can discuss this. But Shavuos is finally the requited love. Giving a gift is beautiful, but when you find out that the gift was never used, never opened, how does that make you feel? Shavuos is not just bringing the Bikurim. It's what the Bikurim represent. We appreciate your gift. We're benefiting from your gift. We want you to benefit from our benefiting the gift. So please accept our Bikurim in return for the Bikurim that we have benefited from. We are your Bikurim. You didn't have other chosen before us. You chose us. I admit we're having trouble choosing you. But let's at least show that we're working on it.
Spending on this there. Good.
But how are we for time? I'll wrap up. What is the ultimate? What is, loosely stated, what is the ultimate Eitz HaDa'as? What is the ultimate tree of knowledge? Fill it in with Shavuos. The ultimate tree of knowledge is to turn Zman Matan Torasenu to Zman Kabbalas Toratenu. That we should switch it, not just that we're celebrating the giving of the Torah, but we should be celebrating the acceptance of the Torah. And that would be the greatest gift that we can give the Kodesh Baruch Hu. When the Kodesh Baruch Hu feels, sees, understands, accepts that we are truly accepting the Torah more than just words, that he can feel it. He can shep nachas. Then it doesn't get any better for the Kodesh Baruch Hu. You have blessed us all along with all the pitfalls and all the drawbacks. We're living in a generation where we can say we're benefiting from the land that you gave us. We're benefiting from being here in the year 5,785. Please accept this gesture that we finally recognize, it finally hits us. We finally understand. And let me use a metaphor, we finally digested. We finally digested what this is all about, starting with the first Bikurim. Please in return, accept these Bikurim from us. I thank you so very much for being here. I thank you for participating. Chag Sameach and have a wonderful Shavuos.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Tag Shavuos. Enjoyed it very much. Jay, Tag Shavuos.
You too, Drew.
Don't choke on what you're eating.
Thank you. Be well. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Have a great day. What? No, he said